everybody. Welcome to Death Battle Cast. It's good. It's good to be here. What's up, everybody? Hey, I'm Ben. I'm joined by Chad, as usual. We've got Liam.
Oh my god! Jesus!
We did have Liam, but I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Good god, dude.
That
Leave
was
them.
that. Oh.
uh,
And then we got Javier.
What's
You
up?
Who's not usually on Death Battle Cast, so real quick, you want to tell the people who you are in case they don't know?
Yeah, I'm Javier. I'm also known as Kirby Kid online. I am a researcher for your Death Battle. I have worked on episodes like Jinx versus Harley, and Kratos versus Azra, most recent. So super excited to be here, first time.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun talking about some matchups today because we have two matchups that we want to talk about that you guys pitched as part of the Kickstarter rewards. And one of them involves Supernatural. And when we mentioned in the group, like, hey, does anybody here know anything about Supernatural? Kirby Kid spoke up. It was basically like, I know everything.
Like I told them before when they asked who had watched the series, I literally have watched all 15 seasons of Supernatural probably 15 times over. I just have it in the background as I'm doing anything work related or it's just on all the time. So I know everything about it. Yeah.
Incredible. So we're gonna be talking about that. We'll get to that in a bit. The first matchup that we want to talk about is a little anime bout, or I guess manga bout, suggested by Hero Hollowbrine. And the matchup is Toru from Dragon Maid versus Seidao, I believe is how you say it, from Devil is a Part-Timer.
yeah.
Liam, did you catch something when we were at a con the past
Yes.
weekend?
The entirety of last week, I was laid up.
Cool.
Oh no.
Nicole and I were both like majorly fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow I got away without getting sick. I got the flu from the first blow from MagFest.
Mhm.
All right, but Liam here has watched and read everything related to The Devil is a Part-Timer 5
Yeah.
times
Yes.
to become the world's greatest expert in The Devil is a Part-Timer, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's confirmed. You admit it. All right.
Yep. Yay. Yippee.
So we're going to be doing a deep dive into that because it is a very interesting premise and a very interesting matchup. I mean the general premise. Do you want to give the general premise of what a devil is a part-timer is?
Yes. So the devil, he's a part-timer.
Whoa!
Deep
Amazing.
knowledge. Thank you.
It's a reverse isekai. That's the premise, where the devil, the demon king, Satan Jacob, goes, which is his name, goes from the demon realm to Earth through a convoluted series of circumstances, which I'll get into, and he becomes an employee at McDonald's, which is roughly a Burger King stand-in. Right? No, it's more like Wendy's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's Five Guys.
I was going to say
Five
Chick-fil-A.
Guys.
It sounds like Chick-fil-A, but like,
Yeah,
I guess it's burgers.
It's
so.
got shades of Subway. It's got the suggestion of I've actually forgotten. It's a suggestion
KFC.
of what's another
KFC.
It's got a suggestion of KFC. And he becomes an employee there and starts to rise through the ranks and realizes that perhaps life is more about just conquering people. It's actually about middle management.
Great.
Yeah.
It is such an absurd premise. Literally, because I did watch the first season years ago. Literally, the first episode, if I recall correctly, has this like, it starts with this massive war between angels and demons, and the devil's just like, I'm bored.
No.
I'm gonna go.
No, he's not bored. He gets his ass. He gets his booty rocked. He gets double cheeks just slapped and obliterated, and he's like, "My cheeks are gone." They're actually his horns. They're at least one of his horns. And he loses his powers, and he is forced to retreat into loserdom, aka the human world.
McDonald's.
So he's forced into becoming
Yes.
employee for McDonald's.
He's sent to.
I don't know
I
what
can
this
just.
McDonald's is. That
Can
you
I
guys
just
keep
get
saying.
into it? Can I just get into it?
Yeah, let's
Are
do
we
it.
like
'cause,
building towards the? Okay, yeah.
No,
Real quick,
so yeah.
I'll just say Galactic Attorney and Super Monye both gifted out 5 memberships. So yeah, thank you guys. If you guys
Whoa,
get a
thank
membership,
you.
say hi in the chat and go check out all
I
the
love
content you
you.
get access to now.
Yeah, so we're curious to know. So Dragon Maid is a relatively popular anime.
Yeah.
When it came out, there was people talking all about it and whatnot. If you are familiar with Dragon Maid, it is also exactly what it says on the tin. It's a maid who is a dragon. There you go.
Nailed it.
So what we're gonna be talking about today is what you have a mute button.
I
Liam.
know, right?
I don't
He's just
care.
coughing straight into this microphone.
This is
for
V-neck
everyone.
is so fucking deep. You can fucking. Okay. here we
No,
go.
we need a little bit of cleavage on this show, Liam. Like,
Yeah?
that's why you're here.
Oh, hold up.
Jesus.
I'm trying to create
So
cleavage.
we're here to talk about this matchup in general, and also, but mainly, I want to do the deep dive into Devil's a Part-Timer, because it is a franchise that I've really never seen requested before for Death Battle, or not frequently. So I'm very curious once we dive into all this stuff, if you all watching this right now are interested in bringing it into Death Battle, whether for Toru or for something else, because it is a show that has a very silly premise, but it also has a lot of lore and like ridiculous powers and stuff like that. So I think it's a very interesting one to dive into. But we'll see. So Liam, take it away.
Yeah, Sam, I'm sending you some images right now. Sorry for not doing that earlier. There
Yes.
was drama. Okay. So, the being that would soon to be known as Sado Mao, which I believe is the name that he takes on Earth, and it's like a pun because Mao sounds like demon and Sadao sounds like sadism, you know. He was originally just like a lowly member of a believe the wiki said it was a low class. I mean, the source material, which I watched several times, 100 times in a row, like the character from A Clockwork Orange. He's part of like a low class goblin tribe in the demon realm. The demon realm is this alternate reality from Earth, and his whole family and his fucking tribe were just obliterated. They got owned. They got wrecked. And such is what happens in the demon realm, because it was a lawless place full of anarchy until he was saved by the angel Layla. Load tab. Oh, it loaded to the top of the document. Now I have to scroll all the fucking way down. But yes, that's the name, right? Yeah, hang on. No, I'll confirm for you in just a
Perfect
second.
organization.
Layla, yeah.
This is the kind of organization we expect from our researchers here.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course. So he decided, hey, I'm going to become the Demon King, and I'm going to unite all of these different factions. I'm going to rule them, and there's going to be peace. So he took an unspecified amount of time. This is back in he took an unspecified amount of time to do that, and then he waged a war against the other demon factions, and conquered the demon realm, and ruled it.
Wait, low-level goblin guy took over all of the demon realm?
Yeah, yes.
All
He doesn't look like a goblin, which makes me wonder what they meant when the wiki said goblin tribe. But it said goblin, and I really stuck in my head, because it's just it's like he looks like an anime boy. Even in his devil form, he looks like an anime boy. He just has more of like a chin. And his eyes are smaller. He isn't as
I don't remember Goblin being
kawaii.
involved when I watched it, but okay.
So united the demon realm. He took the name Satan Jacob, he isn't the Satan. I was trying to figure out more information on the Satan, but Satan is kind of like, it's like the most common name in the demon realm. It's like a Jesus or a Muhammad. It's like they said there are as many Satans as there are rocks. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's great.
So he conquers the demon realm, and all the demons start getting weaker. And he was like, why? And it's because demons are feed off of what's called demonic force, which is like demon key. It's key. It's always key. You're never going to escape
Right.
key. Um, and
Would you
demonic
like to
force.
explain to everybody what key is, Liam? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure
Key-
everybody in the chat has no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Key is an
Opens
energy
doors.
source. Yeah,
Oh.
it's an ephemeral energy that comes from life, comes from living beings, and the reason it's demon key is because it comes from like negative emotions, people feeling shitty and sad, kind of like cursed energy from
energy.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
I was gonna
Um,
say, is this
yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen, but like 5-10 years earlier, or whatever?
Yeah, this is Jujutsu Kaisen. Actually, this is a prequel series. Gojo is there. Gojo does a little dance for the
Wouldn't it be
audience.
fucking crazy if the last scene of Devil's a Part-Timer is Gojo just shows up?
Yes. So he realizes that, oh shit, because by in peacefulizing the demon realm, that's a new word that I just made up, I have weakened these demons. So I'm going to go across this ocean and conquer this land called Ente Isla or Isla. I didn't hear what it was said in the anime, even though I watched it
Isla
100 times.
Sorna?
Yeah, it's like Isla. It's because Isla means island.
Yeah.
Ente Isla, and I'm gonna conquer it, and I'm gonna subjugate the humans that are there. They're like fantasy humans. These are like Final Fantasy looking motherfuckers.
Okay.
They're not. This isn't. He isn't like I sailed across the sea. What is this, Tokyo, Japan? No, this is fantasy. This is still the fantasy realm.
This is still in hell, right? We're in hell.
Well, I don't know if it's hell, but it's like
It's an island nearby hell.
It's a different dimension. I don't even think it's hell. Like I don't think souls of humans from the human realm go there, but I could be wrong. It's more like the demon realm from Dragon Ball, like Key. So he goes to conquer there, and he tells his generals, "Hey, go and conquer the humans and subjugate them and accept their surrender." So he's basically like, don't like commit mass murder, don't like kill all of them, because the point of it was to subjugate them and make them hate demons and bully them and spit in their oatmeal and kick them a lot, and that would create the negative energy that would feed the demon kind. He wasn't doing that because he hated humans. He was just doing it because
he needed it.
Wanted to
because he pacified his demons.
Yes,
and
because he pacified his demons.
They needed to. They were a bunch of betas, and he needed to alpha them up.
Exactly. And the wiki makes it seem like this is not a bad, or that this is like he doesn't have bad motivations. That still, I think, very much falls within bad motivations. But it's like, oh, you're just doing it to help your people. Well, you're hurting this, whatever. So he does that. However, on the western island, because it's 5 islands, it's like a central island, and then like it's like a 4-cross thing. It's a cross, you know. On the western island, the hero Emilia rises up and starts kicking demon ass. Demons' asses are flying. They're shooting into the stratosphere. They're exploding everywhere, just their asses. And he sends his whole big army to like go conquer the demons or conquer the hero. No doing. He goes to fight against the hero, gets his ass kicked. His ass explodes. There's just ass everywhere. And then he's like, I have to go. So he retreats through a portal with his most trusted general. And they go through a portal through dimensions, and they arrive in Tokyo, Japan. And he is now in human form. He doesn't have his magic. He doesn't have most of his magic. He has a little bit of magic, but most of his magic is gone. He looks like a human. He has big, kawaii anime eyes. And shit is fucked. Yeah, and he has to figure his way out. And he learns about the police. He gets to learn about paying hospital bills because he arrives and he's all fucked up, and he goes to the hospital. He gets
starting out in medical debt. All right, way to go.
Exactly.
Welcome to Earth.
The wiki had an image. He's like learns about hospital bills, and it's him like covering his head. I didn't need to look at the wiki for that because I saw the anime 500 times. Then he had to pay rent when he was unemployed, and eventually he got a job. He worked at a temp agency for a little bit. That sucked, but then he got a job working at McDonalds, where he rose through the corporate ladder to be the man he always was, a middle manager.
Great.
So at the end of the day, isn't like managing your employees at a McDonald's just identical to commanding demon armies?
Yes,
Sounds
I
pretty
think that
similar to me.
there's a moment I think where he
There's
talks
some
about
overlap
how
in skills.
he's like, wait a second, this horrible feudalism thing, this sucks. But this capitalism thing, this is how you maximize peace and prosperity among people. You don't when you follow capitalism, you don't need to this is explicit. You don't need to there's no bloodshed or war or anything like that. This is the way. And I got a good laugh when I read that part of the wiki.
But is
slash
there
watch
meant
that
to be some kind of
anime.
symbolism in the fact that he's working for McDonald's and his management style is, oh, I'm gonna make my employees / demons subjugate a bunch of people to piss them off against my employees?
Yes.
Like, is there something going on there?
It's ripe for symbolism. There's a lot of fertile material there, but I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen the anime. For people that haven't seen the anime.
Kindred, Grave King, and Orange Blaster, thank you for gifting out memberships. And then, hold on, we had a super chat, and it's from Alicorn. It says, Toru is a dragon made full-time. Sato is a McDonald's employee part-time. Toru wins, no diff.
It's true, he does have more time to commit murder against her, right? Like, she's working full-time, and he's like, oh, I'm off in, like, 5 minutes. And she's like, oh, I still have shit to do. And it's like, okay, magic beam, blah, it blows up her fucking house. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
what are the powers?
She transforms into a dragon, and then just bites them into a million pieces.
He's the devil.
What is the devil then?
Yeah,
Satan the 23rd or whatever.
Yeah.
What are his powers? What does he do?
So when there's enough negative energy, so like the way it happens in the story is that like a bunch of people show up and they're like, "Ha, Satan, you're weak, and I used to control me, and now I can do what I want." And you start blowing shit up. And then he's like, "You fucking idiots! That created more demonic force because you made people sad because you killed them." And he gets really strong. He gets really buff. He gets like cloven hooves, and his horns grow back. And he gets really strong, really fast, really durable. He has tons of like mental manipulation abilities. He has hypnosis. He has mind control. He can shoot magic blasts. He can form magic shields with like the sort of like the Ars Goetia sort of like symbols on it. He has telekinesis. He has teleportation. He can make himself look like others. He can cast a sleep spell on a bunch of people. He can create a field of time around Shibuya, which is just apparently the part of Japan that just gets absolutely fucking rocked. That's also a Jujutsu Kaisen reference. He can transfer magic to other people. He can stare at you and cause you pain. Not penance. Just pain. That's a very important difference. He took a broom, and then I assume it's a broom from McDonald's. Now that I'm thinking about it. I know that because I saw it, but I'm saying as if I hadn't. He can create a demonic sword out of it. He can regenerate big old holes in his body. He can fly. His body passively exudes demonic magic, which can cause bodily organs to fail. It can knock people out. It can stop their breathing. It passively disrupts holy magic, and it can destroy your will to fight. He can create portals. Obviously, that's how he got to Earth. Apparently, demons are like naturally incorporeal. So he's naturally incorporeal and can fight other incorporeal beings because demons, you can fight other demons, which I thought was interesting. And I think the dragon's bite would just go right through him. And he can create illusions. He can mimic other forms of magic. So even if Toru happens to have an ability that he does not possess, he can do it. He can reflect attacks. And he can manipulate physics. Another demon, like canceled inertia, just like as a concept. So he's really strong. He also has this crazy stinking punch. Sam, if you could start with friggin' Stadao 1 through 4. The first of him and Lucifer, he's like doing a big punch sort of thing. Let me pull it up so I can see when the image shows up. Oh yeah, there you go. Fuck yeah. So he got really mad at Lucifer because Lucifer was being a turd, and Lucifer was one of his generals. So he charged up this big punch, and he brought his arm back, and then you can see like these magical beams or magical like circles forming behind him. And then the next image, Sam, it zooms out to show it continuing to sort of increase in length. It keeps going farther back because he's getting even stronger and stronger and stronger. And then image 3, Sam, or the next one, Sam, keeps going back even farther and farther and farther. So this is like
Good Lord.
the entire city. And then the last image, Sam. Yeah, that's when he threw the punch. And the video that I saw very helpfully added the sound bite Falcon punch over that moment to really sell. I didn't understand what was going on, but then when I saw that, I went, oh, it's like a punch.
Like some sort of punch.
It's like some sort of explosive punch.
Okay.
He punched him, so he's insanely strong.
The size of a city.
Yeah. And that's Tokyo, by the way. So if you're like, oh, it's not the full size of a city, that's Tokyo. The Tokyo metropolitan area is cuckoo crazy big. It's the biggest one in the world. Yes, just that explosion is the size of like a regular city.
So I'm seeing like the connections with this matchup for sure. So Toru, she transforms into a dragon, right? I saw some people asking in chat, like, does Jacob transform into a dragon? No, he does not, as far as I'm aware. But he does
Transforms into a demon.
Yeah, he has like
Transforms into a
form,
demon.
essentially.
Yeah.
His Satan form, essentially. Which is like taller and buff, and he's got 1.5 horns, I think now. Because what's her face cut one off. But yeah, so this would be essentially like fast food worker versus maid that would then escalate to dragon versus the devil.
Demon.
So,
Yes.
Yeah. And Toru has like fire breath and I think there is some element of magic behind it.
Yes.
There are fight scenes in Dragon Maid. There are some crazy fight scenes in it. Somebody in chat mentioned that like there was like a nomination that they got for best fight scene alongside My Hero, which is nuts because the animation.
Yeah, I've been reading the chat, and a lot of people are like saying how like the animation for Dragon Maid goes way harder than it needs to, and I'm like, okay,
yes, for the fight scenes for sure. And her fire breath is strong enough to like split clouds and things like that. It is definitely within the same sort of ballpark of power set, it seems. Who's the guy that comes with?
That's one of his generals. I forget his name. It's like Ashia or something. I don't remember his name. He's one of his generals. He gets a Japanese name.
Well, you know what, Liam? Just because you're struggling a bit, I'm gonna throw you a bone and say maybe his name is Turtle Beach.
That is incorrect, but I love that you brought up Turtle Beach. Because we're deep into winter now. But don't panic. It's not a bad thing. It's an excuse. An excuse to cancel all those plans, slap on your Turtle Beach headset, and game until the sun finally decides to come back. That's right! Today's show is sponsored by Turtle Beach and their new Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset. This gaming headset picks up so much crystal clear sound, it's basically cheating. Even if a snowblower is going off outside, you'll still hear every footstep, every reload, every enemy trying to sneak up on you. And Turtle Beach headsets are so freaking comfortable, you'll feel like you're wearing a marshmallow cloud pillow on your head. Best of all, the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can just seamlessly switch between your consoles and your PC with just a click of a button. I'm looking at it right now. And it gets even better. While connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time, so you can live the dream of rocking out to live and learn on every single level. So this winter, forget the cold. Grab your Turtle Beach Gen 3 Stealth 700 and level up your gaming experience. Head to turtlebeach.com and use code DBC for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code DBC.
Thanks, Turtle Beach.
Yeah,
Way to go, Liam.
I love
I
these
saw in the
things.
chat, they're like, Liam sponsor. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a little pizzazz. Yeah, these things are great. I mean, the sound is incredibly clear. I have a pair of headphones that I love, but the one thing that they don't have is like a good microphone at all. It's just absolutely terrible. And this microphone here is great. Although I'm not using it for this, I'm using another microphone for this.
that way you can really pick up all of his coughs in full
Yeah,
size.
you want to get the full.
Liam, just a
yeah.
reminder, Liam.
Yes.
You do have a mute button.
I think mute
but-
buttons are for losers. and
Okay, well,
fakers
I
and
think we're gonna
haters.
give Liam a little bit of a break then, so that he can rest his voice. I will say, Trevor with the super chat.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
says that you want to read that?
Yeah. So the true connection is that both are reverse isekai, both existing in a fantasy world coming to our world. They are also two of my favorite, one being my number one favorite anime manga, Dragon Maid Supremacy. Okay.
Yeah, the idea of it being a reverse isekai is definitely a really interesting theme to the matchup. But at the end of the day, it's also just like these like mundane. It's also like the mundanity of it all is so fascinating and very fun. Yeah, so we're gonna move on to the other matchup we want to talk about. But I did put a poll in chat seeing how people are feeling about Mr. McDonald's Devil. Sounds like a lot of people are sold on bringing him into Death Battle. Could be really fun. By the way, did want to mention sort of middle of the show announcement. We've got a community fireside chat coming up
Yes.
tomorrow. Surprise.
We're so good at preparing you guys for this.
Yeah, we're great at announcing these things. So if you're not familiar with our fireside chats, basically they are member exclusive live streams. We will be live tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time to chat with you. And the general idea behind our fireside chats are if you are a member, you can join. And it is just about us connecting with you guys and chatting about whatever. If you want to talk more about Devil's a Part-Timer or Dragon Maid, we can do that. Or we can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Usually we go off on weird tangents and answer some of the strangest questions. So I'm sure it'll be something similar to that. But with all that said, so that's tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time, right here on the Death Battle channel. Okay, so Devil's a Part-Timer, Dragon Maid, interesting to talk about for sure. I know there are some people who were wondering if we were going to really dive into Tora as well. Maybe a future Death Battle cast, we could absolutely do like the full matchup of this. But I do also want to cover another deep dive here. Specifically, another franchise that I don't think we've ever talked about before.
No, but we get requested a lot.
Yeah, we see it every so often. We see we see it a lot, but I don't know anything about it. And that is, so the matchup that was for the Kickstarter pitch was from Martine, and they pitched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which, I mean, a lot of us are very familiar with. We all know Buffy. But the one that
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about was Dean Winchester from Supernatural, which is kind of wild to think about, considering like Supernatural has what, 15 seasons? Did you say?
Yep.
Oh my
I think it's the longest running sci-fi show of all time, I think. Pretty sure.
There's no way it's beating Star Trek. Hold on.
Yeah.
Or,
so
or
like,
something like that.
So like, you guys know who Buffy is, right? I'm asking chat specifically. Like Buffy, everybody knows Buffy, right? Classic TV show from the 90s to early 2000s. Kind of major in defining what TV and even like movies would like be like in a lot of our current like blockbusters and stuff have Buffy to thank for the writing style and things like that, right? So but Buffy's like a fucking superhuman. She's crazy powerful, has all these weapons, and I'm like, isn't Dean just a guy? So I don't know anything about Dean. So Javier, can you give me the rundown on Supernatural and Dean and like what it would even look like doing this death battle?
Sure. So Dean, let's see, he's been hunting all sorts of supernatural entities since he was a toddler. Ever since his mom mysteriously passed away or died.
Sorry, I already got to stop you.
Oh, okay.
toddler.
Since he's a toddler, yeah.
Literally, since he was like 5, 6 years old, he was protecting his little brother whenever his father would go out on hunts from like monsters that would come in and try to kill them. Like
Wow,
literally,
How?
yeah.
What was he using? Like a rattle? Like no, like
Uh,
what?
no, dude was literally just like probably a knife. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that's legitimately what he had. Yeah, they had it. They did not have a normal childhood at all.
Okay.
No, yeah. So Dean is the older brother to Sam. They've been in like hunting the supernatural since they were kids, but they kind of split it off. Sam and Dean. Sam wanted to like do schooling, have a normal life. Dean was all about the hunter life, and they had to reconvene together because Dad went missing on a hunting trip. So they banded together to try and look for him. They end up getting into this whole big conspiracy where the demon that killed their mom was actually a knight of hell and had been orchestrating their entire lives to be the vessels of both Lucifer and Michael, respectively.
For a
Um,
second, I was like, they orchestrate their entire lives to be middle management in McDonald's.
Yeah.
But no. Okay, so
yeah,
not just a guy, clearly.
not just a guy. So
Alright.
he does fight a plethora, like I said, of supernatural entities. This ranges from vampires, werewolves, ghouls, goblins, etc. More more intensely are the demons and angels that he ends up fighting. For instance, there are like lower class demons that are capable of like completely reacting to and catching bullets out of the sky, and also angels have also flown interstellar distances to other planets in the solar system before. In the show, it looks like they're just teleporting, but they do actually have wings, and anytime whenever it shifts away from them like disappearing all of a sudden, you hear their wings flap off screen. There's a character named Castiel, who's actually kind of like the third kind of Winchester brother, because they just kind of adopted him as like family. And he searched an entire town within like a second. And Sam and Dean fight these demons and angels like blow for blow. Like literally, they will like throw hands with these angels and demons.
Okay.
Castiel, it's funny because they don't, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like, isn't he portrayed as just the guy? And then he'll fight an angel, and Castiel by default has like lifted like a 2-ton weight and like just effortlessly and like tossed it aside. And meanwhile, like Sam and Dean are like literally punching out angels. Um, and also another cool thing about Dean, because he's been hunting for so long, since he was a kid, he's gained a ton of items and weapons over the years. He has a demon killing knife. He has a demon killing bomb, which literally just like evaporates demons when it blows up. It literally leaves them looking like a shadow on the wall. It's like insane. And he also has an angel killing blade. And one of the more, I guess, intense weapons at his disposal that he's had on several occasions, at least 3, is Death's very own scythe. I'm really excited to get into kind of the more godlike characters in the series, because
Yeah.
they do end up fighting God by the
I'm
end of the
looking
series.
at chat as you've been talking, and
Same.
I'm somewhat aware of some of the like crazier things that happen because like you through general osmosis and social media, sometimes something would come up when Supernatural was
Yeah.
running that would just be like, what the fuck? They're fighting God's sister? What?
Yep. Yep.
Like, but I see some people mentioning things in the chat that are just like crazy. And so it sounds like this show, I mean, similar to Buffy to some degree, just kind of ramps up and never goes back down.
Exactly.
Doug?
I want to say the first 5 seasons are dedicated to Armageddon, so the battle between Michael and Lucifer, and then after that, that was kind of like almost series ending of like a story arc, and they kept going. So like, all right, how do we keep going? So they ended up fighting the Leviathans, which were God's first like monster creation. Then they ended up fighting Metatron, kind of like one of the higher ranking like angels that literally wrote the word of God. And then it went to God's sister, and then it went to God, and like it kept going and going and going. But yeah, it kind of ends with fighting God.
Okay, well,
And
Doug says he met Scooby Doo in the gang. Did they ever cross over?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
sick.
So what ended up happening, kind of crazy, but souls in the supernatural universe, one human soul is equal to like a nuclear reactor, like it's literally like an atom bomb.
Okay.
And so this kid, just the soul of this kid, there's like souls are so powerful they can kind of like manipulate reality. And this kid like sucked Sam and Dean into the world of Scooby Doo for an episode. It's actually like really cool. It's a really cool crossover. Well, I wouldn't really call it necessarily. It's a crossover, but it's just like supernatural and
somewhat
Scooby Doo.
cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. Has Buffy never? Buffy has to have a crossover with Scooby Doo, right? They're literally the Scooby Gang, right? I don't know. I don't think there is.
So, hold on. But so
well,
they go into the show. So the scaling
Yep.
of there might be some ridiculous stuff from that.
Yep.
Okay,
so
that's wild.
they
Thank you,
cross
Joe.
over
It's great
into
to
a
meet you.
cartoon universe,
Yeah.
and then they go back at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not okay. So it is like a canon crossover.
In a sense, yeah. It gets really serious. It gets really serious because like they come to grips with the fact that like because in the episode Sam and Dean have to like convince
Arkham in the chat just said this is also the episode where the Scooby Gang have an existential crisis.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It gets really scary. Daphne's like, am I gonna go to hell at one point?
Oh my god!
It gets crazy. Yeah,
I'm gonna go to
hell.
it's actually it gives a little bit of insight too because that like they're at one point because Castiel ends up popping into Supernatural as well and or sorry into Scooby-Doo as well and he like tells everyone including the gang like oh yeah like monsters and you know all that's real and Shaggy and Scooby go see like we told you it was real like to the gang but yeah I mean it gets crazy.
It's one of those examples because this happens every rarely, but every so often the Scooby Gang or Scooby Doo where they're like, oh, monsters are real actually, and magic is real, and then they have to.
And then they retcon it.
What is that show? There's a TV show where that's all about them discovering that magic is real. I can't remember what it's called. It's one of the Scooby.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking that one. Yeah. They discover it through the blue meth. But before we jump into more Supernatural, because I think this is super interesting, do want to do a quick word from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. Not having a VPN, it's kind of like those nightmares that you have where you show up to school without pants. I mean, everybody can see everything. How embarrassing. Now switch out pants and not having them with internet browsing. That's where ExpressVPN comes in. You know, incognito mode, you know, your internet browser's stealth mode. Yeah, that just means your browser's not like logging the history of the pages that you visit. That's it. Your internet service provider still sees everything. Everything. Including that you have no pants. So buckle up your phone, laptop, tablet, or PC, or whatever other device with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN reroutes 100% of your traffic through secure encrypted servers, so your ISP can't see your browsing history. ExpressVPN hides your IP address, making it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activity. And it's easy to use. All you have to do is fire up the app, click one button, and boom, you're protected. Even better, ExpressVPN is rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge, so you know you're getting quality here. I've used VPN ExpressVPN for years. Works great. Love how simple it is. Love how reliable it is. Can't recommend it enough. So protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/DBC. That is expressvpn.com/DBC. And you can get an extra 4 months for free. That's a lot. expressvpn.com/DBC. Thank you, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring the show. And thank you guys as well for checking out our sponsors. We've said it before. I don't really want to harp on it too much, but being independent and making Death Battle, which is not a cheap show, independently, can sometimes get stressful. And our sponsors, you know, I'm very grateful for our sponsors coming in and helping us. You know, they're supporting the show just like you guys are. So thank you.
So go check them out
in return.
Yeah.
All right.
ExpressVPN, longtime sponsor. They got us through the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sarah Forgus says, "Isn't that the episode where one of the brothers tries to get with Daphne?" Of course.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's Dean.
That's
actually.
Dean. Okay, great. All right, yeah, all right.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. And then Velma ends up kissing Sam at the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Dude, all right.
This is
Like,
not the crossover.
I know
was
we got so
expecting.
focused on Scooby Doo, but it's like
Yeah.
I kind of
That's
want to go
okay.
see Supernatural
Now I
now.
want to
Like,
watch
it
this.
seems-
Yeah, now I want to watch Supernatural just so
Yeah,
I can get to this crossover.
They have a lot of fun. There's actually, so I'll comment on something that I saw in the chat a second ago, but Sam and Dean do end up universe hopping at one point. They go into a universe where they like end up replacing their real life versions of themselves. So
they're actors.
yeah, like they literally like go into the real world and like because I think angels ended up like booting them into that world to kind of like hold off
So
whatever
it's a
plan
A
they were.
world where
Yeah.
Supernatural is a TV show.
It's a
for
TV
that
show,
world.
exactly, yeah. But what's crazy about that world and many others is God made like the entire multiverse. The multiverse ends up being a thing by season 15 because, of course, gotta ramp up everything.
Yeah.
And God ends up so Sam and Dean are like his favorite like characters. He thinks of all his he thinks of all his universes as like shows, and he
His
thinks
OCs?
that
Yeah.
exactly. He actually interjects himself into the story, and they even like do like meta commentary on like, oh, like why is the writer, the creator, like jumping into the story? But that's what he does.
Oh my god.
And he just happens to love this version of Sam and Dean the most out of all of them, and his little infinite multiverse that he's created. And he ends up getting pissed because they're so unpredictable to him that they just don't do things like the way that he wants. And so he just gets really pissed off. I forget what the context is of why he got so mad, but he literally goes and like deletes that entire multiverse within a month and leaves just that standard or that Sam and Dean universe alone. And then they end up doing this whole plan where Lucifer in this series ends up having a son. I forget what the half angel, half human hybrid is called, but Nephilim? Yeah, Nephilim.
Yeah.
So he has Nephilim son. His name's Jack. They end up doing this whole tactic where Jack ends up like pretty much siphoning God's power, and Jack becomes the new god, and he ends up fixing the multiverse. Yeah,
Sure.
but regardless, to touch on the reason why I wanted to touch on why God is like such a spectacular ring. So, Death is a character that Sam and Dean have run into a few times. Dean has had access to Death's scythe like three times to my knowledge, and he's used it against Death himself as well. And it like one shot him. It like killed him instantly.
Yeah, OC Blast in chat Frosty in chat. I just look over and see them right. They shot God.
God.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. They literally, they don't give a fuck. Yeah, they're totally like very like rambunctious and just like they don't matter if it doesn't matter if the odds are stacked against them. They're always gonna keep fighting.
Incredible.
But yeah, so he's had access to this scythe before, and he ends up killing Death. Now Death has gone on record to say by the end of like the heat death of the universe, he will be there to reap God's soul. Him and God are like very comparable.
Okay.
Death can just like cause like eclipses with the snap of his fingers. He's like been around. God and Death don't even know who was born first. But Dean literally had his scythe and like Death actually gave it to him so that he could kill Sam, and then Dean did a last second, no, I'm not killing my brother, I'm going to kill you, and he kills Death with the scythe. And then a new Death takes his place because a Reaper that has died, if Death dies, the next Reaper that has died will take his place. So then they end up fighting a new Death. Her name's Billy. And Dean actually ends up taking her scythe for a little bit as well. But it's just this like super overpowered weapon that could just take out like a multiversal level being like with the swipe.
Just one swipe.
Okay. I'm seeing that.
Okay.
So Dean is the one who specifically uses the scythe multiple times. Okay, I'm
Yes.
seeing the connection with Buffy with her scythe and things like that. All right, all right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jane Gwynn says,
Uh,
"Don't forget the episode where Dean gets abducted by aliens and just started blasting." Like what? Is he-
So I think
the
that
show sounds
episode is
awesome. Why have I never seen this?
Yeah, right. Like
it gets so crazy. They very much like have fun with it, especially with like the Scooby crossover, the entering like real life episode. Like they do a lot of like really fun stuff. So
Oh my
it's a
god.
good
Okay.
show.
So aside from getting Death's Scythe and using it to literally kill Death,
Mhm.
which I agree,
pretty insane.
Doug, is not something to just gloss over, but I'm gonna gloss over it anyway, so that we can move on. Aside from that, like, what does Dean bring to a fight? Like, is he just like typically a normal guy, but he finds
Brings the
himself in situations
guns.
where he like is it more of a I guess like a mystery sort of show where he's trying to figure out how to hunt down the demons, or does he bring like demon or vampire or whatever killing weapons?
Yeah. So it literally is like think of it as like NCIS, but like with like supernatural entities. Like they're literally crossing the country, and they have like these like FBI like these fake FBI licenses that they use, and they always like name themselves after like famous like rock stars, which is kind of cute. It's kind of like an ongoing like gag that they do, like Bon Jovi and stuff like that. But literally like they'll just go cross country, and they'll see if there's any strange reports going on in an area, and they'll do the research as to like behind the victims, like what killed them, like why, what the motive was. Literally like like typical
It
cop
was a
show.
werewolf. It was death
Yeah.
itself. Like
Yeah. And yeah, it gets kind of wild with they actually end up fighting like there's like this blanket term that they use for like, because they do end up fighting like other types of gods. They're nowhere near as powerful as god, but they're the blanket term is pagan gods. So they fought I believe it was Zeus. They fought Zeus. They they fought like all these different types of like gods. Oh, I can't even remember other ones off the top of my head, but I know that they end up getting Mjolnir. Fun fact. They end up getting
oh yeah,
Mjolnir,
okay.
which just one shots pagan gods, by the way. Totally crazy.
Damn.
I don't know where pagan gods kind of stack up, because like angels, especially archangels, are like so strong. But I would say pagan gods are kind of like in underneath, definitely underneath archangels, so probably angel level.
Sure.
Angels are crazy. An angel's true form ranges, like they have like, we've never seen a true form of an angel before, but Castiel, who's that third important member in the supernatural team, he says that his true form is approximately the size of the Empire State Building. And he just kind of
Same.
chooses to be in middle-aged
Did you
man's
say
body.
Same.
Yeah.
All right.
Does yours
Okay.
also have like 10 lion heads? Kidding.
Yes. Like 11 at least, and 12 on like a really good day.
So this went from "isn't Dean some dude" to now that everyone in the chat's like,
Yeah.
how is Buffy even gonna handle this?
So
So like,
chat, I love it because chat started with
Yeah.
Buffy versus Dean, but like
yeah.
Buffy's gonna beat his ass, and now a lot of people in the chat are saying, so it sounds like Dean takes this. I don't know. Obviously, like Buffy has a lot of other stuff going on. We've done a Death Metal cast actually on Buffy. Highly recommend checking that out if you haven't, if you're not familiar with Buffy. I mean, she comes in with. So Dean is not like physically superhuman, right?
I would say so. In reactions, I would say so, because he, like, to keep up with angels and demons, like he'd have to like be able to dodge their attacks, and also like sideswiping death, like stuff like that. But
So
as far
through
as strength,
training,
perhaps.
perhaps.
Yeah, as far as strength though, I mean, I would say he ranges closer to like the tons, like
Okay.
fighting angels that have like lifted
Yeah.
like 2 5-ton bars. That he can just like literally sock in the face and like stumble, like that's generally where his
I guess what I mean is
yeah.
like, does the show present him as just a human, or does he have like a specific like
it It
when he was a
does.
child who was blessed by a god or an angel, and he's got superhuman strength or something like
It definitely portrays him more as a human. There are instances where him and his brother have gotten like supernatural abilities. Oh, and end credits.
He's like Batman, basically,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, he's a guy, but then also Batman
But-
punches out General
Exactly.
Zod or something.
Exactly.
exactly.
That's literally what it is. And he's gotten access to so many crazy abilities, but yeah.
that.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, interesting. Falco versus Leon mentioned sounds like Dean could also be someone who fights John Constantine. That's interesting.
yeah.
I've
was
talked
cool.
about John Constantine before as a matchup, and
That'd be
Rhino
interesting. Yeah.
comes up, but like this sounds like a potential option for Constantine as well. But does Dean have magic? Does he like know spells?
So he does. I would say that they're very specific spells. So he knows spells to like banish demons. He knows spells to banish angels. Really a lot of his bread and butter is in his weapons, for sure.
Okay.
Which I would say are very hacksy weapons.
Yeah.
So aside from Death's Scythe, is there any other specific weapon that would probably be in the fight?
So you could probably like be pretty experimental in what you would want to bring. So for instance, he's had access to this knife called it was Cain's knife in Cain and Abel. In Supernatural, Cain is Hell Warrior or something like that. Just a really high ranking, super powerful demon no one wants to fuck with. And he has this mark called the Mark of Cain. And it pretty much makes him one unkillable. So if he dies, he just comes back to life. And then Dean actually was handed this mark for I think an entire season and a half. And it literally the knife can kill angels and demons. And he dies, but it ends up resurrecting him as a demon. And then that ends up like having to get fixed because don't want Dean to be a demon. Which to be fair, even when he was a demon, he didn't like he was just shittier, but like he didn't do anything like super evil. Like he just like the only thing that was like, oh my god, like he's going to the dark side is he killed a guy that like put a hit on his wife for cheating on her, and he wanted Dean because he was like he sold his soul so that a demon could kill his wife. So he was like, you go kill my wife, you punk ass demon, and Dean's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you instead. But yeah, anyways, he just can resurrect as a demon.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to kind of wrap this up, I looked up Cain on the Supernatural Wiki, and it led me to a wiki page that I think perfectly encapsulates why people would want Dean in Death Battle. There is an entire wiki page on the Supernatural Wiki that is just things killed by Dean Winchester. And it is a list of hundreds of things. Categorized like angels, demons, ghosts, apparently.
Yeah.
Jin, Lamia, Kitsune, Marids. Like, and there's so many things on this list. It is insane. It is wow. It is a very long Wikipedia article. That's so funny to me. Yeah. Okay.
Does Buffy have things killed by Buffy? Surely, right? Like she's killed a lot.
I mean,
and she'll kill again.
Let's see. Buffy's wiki page does have a Buffy kill count page. I don't know if it specifically applies. Oh, it does apply to Buffy.
I googled things Buffy has killed wiki, but then Google AI is just telling me this accounting considers a total of at least 324 slaves, which include over 203 vampires, 100 demons, 8 spirits, 9 humans, 2 cyborgs, 1 robot, and 1 zombie.
Yeah, we're looking at the same thing. Yeah. So both of them have wiki pages on their fandom wiki of a list of kills. I will say, Buffy doesn't categorize it by types because over half of them, or almost half of them, are just vampires.
Right.
Whereas Dean's has everything categorized because there is such a wide variety of things. Let me see. I don't see Prince of Hell on Buffy's list, but
she's fought a demon though. Like,
but Dean has a whole category for Princes of Hell that he's killed. So, you know, that's fascinating. Okay. Also, I did want to mention that when we were doing our pitch, Martin did mention that they had this great idea for how the fight would start. And it's because Buffy is canonically a bad driver, and Dean has said that if anyone would destroyed his car, he would murder them.
Yes. Yes. His
So, I mean,
1967 Chevy Impala. Yes.
it just writes itself. It's a perfect death metal setup.
We recreate the scene from Buffy when Spike comes back into town, you know, when he plows into the like Sunnydale sign or whatever it is, but it's Buffy driving his car, Dean's car, and
Or
just
smashing
smashes
into
it.
Dean's car.
Listen,
Yeah.
I love
walking out, ready to go hunt some Princes of Apocalypse or whatever, and then his car just gets annihilated by Buffy.
I love when a character is so devoted to their car, like Kevin 11 from Ben 10 too. Like just like characters like that who are just like, if you do anything to touch my car, like I love that personality type.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? I'm curious what y'all think about the idea of Buffy versus Dean, because I know there are other Buffy matchups out there that people are interested in. Buffy versus Blade was mentioned multiple times in chat, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But I'm very curious. This is an idea that I wasn't really familiar with until the pitch. So what do you guys think of Buffy versus Dean, or specifically bringing Dean or somebody else from Supernatural into Death Battle? Franchise we've never really touched before until literally today. So very curious what your thoughts are on that, as well as, of course, the first matchup we talked about, Devil's a Part-Timer versus the Dragon Maid. Both franchises or series that we've never really touched on in Death Battle either. But I know Dragon Maid is very popular. People like it a lot. But Devil is a Part-Timers, I feel like that just kind of came and went, and people either know about it or they go, what the fuck is that? So very curious to see everyone's thoughts on that. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Death Battle Cast. Again, we have a fireside chat coming up tomorrow. If you're watching this live, we do this live every Tuesday, by the way. So this Wednesday, February 19th at 5 p.m. Central, we are doing a members exclusive fireside chat. So you can tune in for that. It is a live show. Also wanted to really quickly address something, because we've gotten a lot of questions about this. There was an announcement, is it 2 weeks ago at this point? I don't know. That Rooster Teeth is back. Rooster Teeth is revived. It's back. It's saved. Blah, blah, blah. So there's been a lot of, I think, misinformation being spread about what that means, and what that could potentially lead to. At the moment, it's still, I highly recommend watching or listening to Bernie's podcast, where he actually talks about what this means. He and Ashley kept that podcast very short. It's a very quick listen, just to get the news of what it means that Bernie Burns, one of the original founders of Rooster Teeth, has reacquired Rooster Teeth. So, but while that's awesome, and we wish whatever the new Rooster Teeth is going to be the best, and we would totally be open to collabing with them in the future. Death Battle has no intentions of becoming non-independent at this time. Like, we got the show, we got the Death Battle show for the first time ever since its creation, and that's what we wanted to do. We are excited to continue making Death Battle and growing the show in this new era. So that's not necessarily going to be affected by Rooster Teeth suddenly reviving like a phoenix with teeth. Anyway,
thank you for your support and allowing us to stay independent. Yeah, but the Rooster Teeth acquisition is great for them. That's awesome, but it didn't magically like bring back all of the stuff that was purchased by individuals. So yeah. This one.
Ruby is still with Viz. Like that's an important thing to point out.
Yeah.
But either way, thank you all so much for joining us.
Thanks, Joe.
Also, Joe slided in with a last minute super chat. Thank you, Joe. And we will see you, if you're a member, we will see you tomorrow on our fireside chat. Otherwise, we will see you on next week's Death Battle Cast. Take care.
Bye. Great.